Ishtar's primary legacy from the Sumerian tradition is the role of a fertility figure. She evolved, however, into a more complex character, surrounded in myth by death and disaster, a goddess of contradictory connotations and forces, fire and fire quenching, rejoicing and tears, fair play and hostility. Ishtar is also known as an astral deity, associated with the planet Venus, with Shamash, the sun god, and Sin, the moon god. She forms an astral trinity. In this form, her symbol is a star with 6, 8, or 16 rays within a circle. As goddess of Venus, delighting in bodily love, Ishtar was the protector of prostitutes and patron of the alehouse. Part of her cult worship probably also included temple prostitution. In later myths, she was known as Queen of the Universe, taking on the powers of Enlil and Enki. Ishtar, or Inanna in Sumerian sources, is a primary Mesopotamian goddess closely associated with love and war. This powerful Mesopotamian goddess is the first known deity for which we have written evidence. She had a complex and influential role in the religions and cultures of the ancient Near East. Ishtar is one of the most famous Mesopotamian goddesses, and her influence was embedded in many aspects of her worshippers' lives. She was admired across the ancient Near East for thousands of years, with her cult confirmed at Uruk as early as the late 4th millennium BCE. Evidence for Ishtar comes from Mesopotamia, an area in the ancient Near East roughly corresponding with modern-day Iraq, Kuwait, and parts of Syria, Iran, and Turkey. Mesopotamia was home to many of the world's first great empires, including the Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian empires. In Sumerian love poetry, Ishtar Inanna is depicted as a young woman who lives at home with her mother Ningal and her father Nanna, the Mesopotamian god Sin. Her twin brother is Utu, the Semitic Shamash, the solar god connected to justice. Ishtar herself is associated with Venus, the morning and evening star. The goddess's courting partner is Dumuzi, the Semitic Tammuz, who appears in myth as a shepherd king, and who represented the growth and fertility of the date palm. Among ancient literary sources, Ishtar is best known for her appearance in two of the most famous myths from Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh and Ishtar's descent to the underworld. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the world's earliest known works of epic literature, surviving in numerous versions. The story tells of the journey of the young hero Gilgamesh, semi-divine king of the city of Uruk. In the standard Babylonian version, Ishtar appears most prominently in Tablet 6. Here, Gilgamesh is described bathing and cleaning his weapons after doing battle with the forest guardian Humbaba. Ishtar sees the young king's beauty and lusts after him. She proposes marriage and offers him nice incentives. Gilgamesh, however, does not want to marry her and rudely rejects her. In his refusal of her proposal, Gilgamesh compares Ishtar to a drafty back door, a faulty battering ram, and a shoe that bites the feet of its owner. Now this last insult may be ominous, as in ancient divination, an abrasion from an ill-fitting sandal was considered to be an omen with potentially fatal consequences. Ishtar is greatly upset by Gilgamesh's cruel rejection. She travels to the heavens to visit the sky god Anu. Through threats and emotional blackmail, she persuades the elder god to loan her the bull of heaven. Her plan is to use the mighty warrior to take revenge on Gilgamesh. When Anu eventually agrees, Ishtar leads the bull back to earth. The cosmic bull, associated with the constellation Taurus, battles against Gilgamesh and his companion Enkidu. The two heroes kill the bull, and Ishtar mourns over its body with the women of the city. In the myth of Ishtar's descent to the underworld, Ishtar and her shepherd husband Tammuz, the Sumerian Inanna and Dumuzi, are the divine protagonists of one of the world's oldest known love stories. Despite having an intimate and loving relationship in Sumerian poetry, the romance does not end in lasting happiness for the pair. Once Ishtar and Tammuz have united, they are soon separated by disloyalty, death, and underworld demons. The myth of Ishtar's descent to the underworld tells the story of the goddess's journey to the underworld, the home of her sister Ereshkigal. The goddess travels through the 7 gates of the underworld, removing an item of clothing at each gate. Ishtar finally arrives naked before Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld, and is killed. The death of the goddess of love leaves her trapped in the underworld and requiring rescue. With the assistance of her faithful companion Ninshubur, Ishtar is revived through the clever plotting of the god of wisdom Ea, the Sumerian Enki. Ishtar's place in the underworld cannot be left empty, however, and the god rises with a group of demons to search for a replacement. Following a long search, her consort Tammuz is sent to the underworld to take her place. Beyond the descent and Gilgamesh myths lies a wealth of textual evidence for the goddess, such as royal hymns, several myths, prophetic texts, magic spells, and proverbs. In many myths, the goddess is closely associated with vengeance, justice, and the maintenance of cosmic order. The earliest poems to Ishtar Inanna were written by Enheduanna, the world's first known author to be individually identified. Enheduanna is generally considered to have been a historical figure living in Ur circa 2300 BCE, one of the world's oldest urban centers. She was priestess of the moon god and the daughter of Sargon of Akkad, or Sargon the Great. Ishtar is often accompanied by her emblematic animal, the lion, and she often carries weapons. Sumerian Inanna is frequently represented with a lion or standing on top of a lion. She also appears in iconography in her celestial aspect as an 8-pointed star and is associated with rosettes. Ishtar's star is often depicted alongside a sun disk and a crescent-shaped moon, representing her brother, the solar god Shamash, the Sumerian Utu, and her father, the moon god Sin, the Sumerian Nanna. Ishtar's association with an 8-pointed star is found on cylinder seals from the early dynastic period, about 2900 to 2300 BCE, and remained closely linked to the goddess through thousands of years of Mesopotamian history, up to the Neo-Babylonian period of 626 BCE and 539 BCE. Ishtar is also sometimes presented alongside scorpion imagery. This artistic connection to scorpions can also be seen in literary sources, where Inanna battles a giant scorpion in a Sumerian myth that depicts her usurping the god of heaven An, the Semitic Anu. Ishtar is also depicted alongside Mesopotamian kings, and is shown taking part in religious rituals or ceremonies. This type of scene is famously presented on the Varka vase, a carved alabaster vessel discovered in Inanna's temple complex in Uruk. The vase shows the goddess standing at the doorway of the temple, receiving a procession, and is one of the oldest known examples of narrative relief sculpture, dating to around 3000 BCE. Ishtar had a special relationship with the human rulers of Mesopotamia. In her association with Mesopotamian kings, Ishtar Inanna is represented as spouse, lover, sister, and mother. Although her role shows flexibility, the textual evidence is thematically linked through an emphasis on the goddess's physicality, especially her feminine form. The affections of the goddess held a legitimizing function for kings, with the concept of king by love of Inanna able to be traced back to the earliest origins of political hierarchy. As the world's first known goddess of love, Ishtar is connected to many forms of emotional intimacy. While this association includes sexual love, it involves a variety of other types of loving bonds as well, as she has caring relationships with her divine family and her maidservant Ninshubur. The goddess's affections were thought to protect those she cared for, binding together families, communities, and empires in powerful ties that persevered even beyond death. Please like, subscribe, and share.